Hi friends, welcome to this week's video. Today I'm going to be sharing with you our experience in wine country. In Ontario, there are actually 3 regions that produce wine. In this video, I'm going to show you how we chose to spend our day in Twenty Valley, which is located in the Niagara Peninsula and which is the largest wine producing region. We did more than just sip wine, so we're going to take you along and show you exactly what we did in wine country. Our day started fairly early. We dropped off Mahi at my parents' place, got on the road and headed west toward the Niagara Peninsula. We stopped once for coffee and kept going until we hit the community of Jordan. We decided to get off the highway so that we could drive through this beautiful region of Ontario. We arrived at our first destination, which was in fact a winery. It was the Henry of Pelham Winery. We've actually been here once before and we enjoyed it so much that we decided to come back. We got there at noon, which was just in time for tastings. Something really distinctive about the grounds of this winery are these trees that are painted golden. I don't think they're real trees, but the golden tree is the Henry of Pelham logo. It's on all of their labels. I really like the grounds of this estate. There's plenty of room for you to sit and enjoy your wine. They also have a small cafe, which is sadly lacking in vegetarian options, but that didn't really matter to us since we were there to sample their August feature flight, which was a selection of 3 of their most popular and celebrated wines. So we each got a flight as well as a complimentary bag of popcorn, and we went out to find a comfy spot where we could have a sophisticated discussion about the wine.
Red ants.
Something bit you?
No, it was moving fast. There are things on it. Yeah, those ones.
Do you want to sit at a picnic table? Having selected a picnic table, we settled in a safe distance away to enjoy our wine and complimentary popcorn. Although we've been wine tasting a few times, I would consider Pranav and I to be beginners when it comes to tasting and talking about wine. We sipped, swished, and chatted a little bit, and then decided to explore some of the vineyard before heading to our next destination for lunch. The last time we drove through this region, we came upon an estate called Honsberger. They serve brick oven pizza at their bistro, and we learned that the pizza menu changes with the seasons depending on what local produce is available. The Niagara region is also a microclimate, so the soil and the weather conditions not only create the perfect environment for growing grapes, but for fruits, veggies, and a lot of other produce as well. Vineyard to the left, orchard to the right. We arrived at Honsberger having worked up quite the appetite. We filled out the obligatory contact tracing form and settled in to order some lunch. Their charmingly illustrated menu had a few vegetarian selections, but we knew what we were there for.
We will likely go for that pizza.
Sitting outside among other people, albeit at a safe distance, watching our food being made in front of us in this brick oven, it all made for a very immersive dining experience.
Makes me happy. The crust looks nice and I see flour de sel.
The food indeed was very attractive and delicious. The Niagara produce undoubtedly lived up to its reputation. I do have to say, however, that I found the food to be overpriced for what it was, at least in terms of quantity. We didn't partake of any wine at this estate, so after lunch we just poked around the grounds a little bit. We saw a couple of the farm animals. There was a produce stall with fruits, vegetables, microgreens, all from the Niagara region, of course. We wandered through the vineyard a little bit. This vineyard was not entirely dissimilar from the vineyard we had just been to, and all of these estates don't mind at all if you walk through the vineyard, take pictures, pluck a grape or two. While we drove up to Honsberger, I noticed this tree swing, and I definitely wanted to try it before leaving, having never swung on a tree before in my life, so we both had a bit of a go. The wind had picked up a little bit. I was very conscious of my dress. It took me all of 30 seconds to realize that this swing was one of the most uncomfortable things I had ever sat on in my entire life. With our tummies about 65% full, and after a little bit of cat interaction, we decided that it was time to get going to our next destination. We were on our way to another winery on these very charming, winding roads. We had to turn back when we passed this very delightful fruit stall owned and operated by Hippel Farms. Pranav and I, as well as my mom, find it absolutely impossible to resist the seasonal peaches, plums, and corn from this region. Unfortunately, that season has since come to a close, and with the end of summer, I can't help but feel that I didn't eat enough corn this year, and I don't think I ate enough peaches either. After a lengthy perusal, I settled on some mixed plums, just a bag for ourselves and for my parents.
You got something?
Oh yes, Ontario mixed plums.
Heading to our final destination, we drove through many small towns and communities. Some of them had quite busy downtown areas with thriving businesses. Some of them consisted of only an intersection or two.
Welcome to Wineland. Thank you for visiting Wineland.
We initially planned to end our day at the organized crime winery. However, we got there and it looked like a suburban home. There was a happy graduation sign in the driveway. It really threw us off. We weren't really feeling the vibe, so we ended up at the Locust Lane Winery, and I am so glad that we ended our day here. The tasting area was not only spacious, bright, and beautiful, but it afforded breathtaking views of the vineyard and landscape. Unlike other wineries, their tasting flights comprised 4 wines.
This is such a great experience. I'm so impressed already.
I also appreciated that we were not left to our own devices. Our hostess stayed with us, chatted, answered questions about the wines and the winemaking process. The experience of tasting wine and talking about wine at Locust Lane was so inclusive and accessible. There was nothing pretentious about it at all, which I think is a common misconception, especially among those like us who are somewhat uninitiated when it comes to wine tasting and talking about wine. And that's how we decided to spend our day in Ontario wine country. Thank you for spending time with us. I hope you liked this video, and if you did, give it a thumbs up. I hope you enjoyed seeing us step outside of Toronto for a change. We were certainly glad to have a day to ourselves out of the city. Of course, I'm so grateful to my parents who took care of Mahi that whole day so that Pranav and I could have this day together. All right, friends, I hope you're safe and well wherever you are, and I will see you next week with something else. Till then, bye-bye.